and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the eastern lowveld of the world's most perfect country, South Africa. This is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Well, back again, you are here with us in the eastern lowveld of South Africa. As I said to you, my name is James Henry. On camera today is Craig. Craig, show us your thumb. There's Craig's thumbs. Wonderful. And on the other vehicle, we've got David, and he is filming Baron, and out on foot, Tayla McCurdy, fearlessly searching for Karula on foot, as I said, with Herbert and Brian. Now, over there, we have some pigs. And if you would like to ask us about those pigs, or perhaps the impala we've just seen, or what on earth the eastern lowveld of South Africa is, please get hold of us. Questions at WildEarthTV, otherwise hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. That's actually the best way for you to get hold of us, but we will take your emails. We will not take mail, postcards, carrier pigeons, Morse code, or any other form of communication that you may try to use. Now, I don't know if you were on drive with us this morning. I truly hope that you were, because, well, it just makes it more contiguous if you were. But what we're going to try and do today is find those lions, the Nkuhuma Pride again. Herbert and Brian and I walked the block to our left-hand side, the left-hand side of your picture, flat today, trying to figure out what on earth was going on with them. We don't know. We couldn't find their tracks. They have not crossed out of the block. So we're going to try for them this afternoon. Then, I think probably as the sun goes down, we'll head down towards Arathusa. And if you weren't on drive, there were 3 Birmingham Boys down on the Arathusa airstrip from this morning. And I want to try and get to them perhaps just before the sun goes down, or as the sun goes down, and hope that they let out a roar or two so that we can capture that. That's the general plan. As you well know, things change profoundly as the course of the afternoon goes on. Who knows what's going to happen? There is a wind blowing from the northeast, which is indicative of some sort of cyclone system coming in off the coast, and it's 29 degrees Celsius, which is a delicious temperature, about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll get you another look at these pigs. It looks like an older boar, and unless it's, I thought it was 2 boars to start, but it might be a young sow and the boar. There they are. Let's try and discern what's going on there. No, the big one is in fact a sow, and the back one also seems to be a sow, so it's probably mum and daughter. They were playing with each other earlier. It's quite nice to see. Pigs look like they're supposed to play, I feel. They don't look very serious. Marvellous, and you can hear that the afternoon is quiet and peaceful and very pleasant to be out here. And in fact, the fact that these pigs are coming towards us is marvellous, Craig. The one to the right is actually out in the open now. Gorgeous, there it goes, behind the bushel there. And as it goes behind the bushel, let us go and find out how Tayla McCurdy is doing in the far south of the reserve. I will continue on my quest for the Nkuhuma Pride.
Good afternoon. It's obviously wonderful out here today. As you've already seen with James, the sun is shining. There's a couple of clouds that look like they could possibly bring rain, which is very exciting. Now, my name is Tayla McCurdy, and on camera with me this afternoon out on this bushwalk is Brian.
Hello.
No thumb. It's too dangerous for the thumb to come out on bushwalks. And then, of course, Herbert is hiding in the bushes at the moment, and we're quite excited. There's Herbie. He doesn't look as sad as what he did this morning after not finding lions, but he's determined today because we've actually picked up on some leopard tracks. Come and have a look at all of these tracks on the ground. It's Karula's footprint, and her cubs' footprints are also here. They haven't sort of quite walked in as muddy sort of section as Karula did, so you can't see in as muddy sort of section as Karula did, so you can't see them so nicely, but there's some very faint ones. They came here, they had a little drink, and we suspect that this has happened in the last 4 hours or so. Now, Karula gone off, said that they had tracks her crossing out south, but it seems as though the youngsters were playing around in this little patch over here. Okay, now we can just see Herbert's footprints, but at one point you could see the odd footprint over here, and you know what those two are like. Every now and then they jump about and do all sorts of wonderful things, and that's the plan this afternoon, is to try and either find Karula's cubs or hopefully find Karula too, and maybe we'll be able to give Byron and James a little bit of a hand as well, but later with trying to find where those Nkuhumas have gone to, because they gave us a slip for the second ride. They will not get us a third time, and I don't think Herbert is ready to be caught out for a third time by these Nkuhumas. Now, it's a very hot day, and as we're at this pan, you can imagine it's important that leopards will drink, but there's a lot of butterflies just sitting on the edge of the water. You see that bright yellow one that's just on the edge? There's a few of them. There's a couple of migrants, African migrants, but that bright yellow one you should all be very familiar with. It's the broad-bordered grass yellow. Now there's lots of them hanging around, coming through to try and pick up, of course, on all the sodium that's left behind, or bits of calcium. It's called mud puddling. But unfortunately, as wonderful as that pond, this sort of, I suppose you could call it a mud wallow is that because it has been so hot, the insects need to drink water too. And the odd grasshopper, unfortunately, has got stuck and sort of got too excited, out the middle. And hopefully, they're able to kick their leg like this, even though they can't swim very well, but just creating a little bit of momentum, and they'll hopefully be able to make it all the way to the side. And we did watch one actually make it out, but there was a second one, which is now vanished. So I'm wondering if a terrapin perhaps didn't just snatch it up. But every time we get closer and closer to the bank, the wind would change direction and blow it all the way to the middle again on sort of all that algae that's growing. So I feel a little bit sad for that, but I suppose we need to get moving now and start the search for Karula. So Herbert has jumped up ahead, and well, hopefully as we go along, he's going to pick up on a couple more tracks. Now, of course, you've met James already, who's out and about scouting the plains. It's not just me walking around as well. Byron is driving, and I'm sure he's excited to be in the vehicle, and well, I don't know what his plans are this afternoon. He said something about lions, but let's go across to him and say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it is another cool afternoon. Good to be with all of you. And we've just got some impala rams over there. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Dave. And these impala, as we approached, just stopped an alarm called once or twice, and just having a quick scan around, I think they actually alarm called at us, to be honest, which is unusual, but they do sometimes do that. It wasn't a serious alarm call. Where did they go now? I just moved off a little bit behind the trees. It was just one male. Sometimes the male also snort once or twice to try and keep females close to them. So females think there's possibly danger, and they'll go and stay close to a male. It's actually very clever, if you ask me. One way to keep the females around. So, so our plan this afternoon is just to try. We're also going to try and find some big cats. I'm looking for lion, any sign of lions, any sign of. See, here are lion tracks, but let me just have a look. This looks like. So obviously trying to look for the Nkuhuma pride. Let me see if I can have a quick look here for you. Let's see what tracks we've got. So the Nkuhuma pride, as well as Karula and her cubs. I know Tayla had some tracks of her earlier, so maybe we do come across some luck. Now, I just wanted to see, it looked like just one male track, a male lion. Now, I wonder if it wasn't one of the Birmingham males that they did see on Arathusa. Just want to double check here. And it's always careful. It's always good when you are tracking to have a good look around the area. Don't just go to the specific area that you saw one track. Take a walk around, have a look, because you might see more than the first track or the original track that you did see. So it just looks like one track at the moment. See, what I'm looking for is to see if there aren't other tracks around. If it's potentially the rest of the pride. Doesn't look like it. It looks like just a single track at the moment, but we'll keep having a look around. That's definitely from last night, though. It's not from today, not fresh at all. I can see there are some vehicle tracks on top of the line tracks already, so someone's driven here. And also there's been a lot of bird activity walking across the road, and obviously the impala and that in the area. So it's unlikely that these lions are still around here. And earlier in the pre-show drive, I asked all of you what you would like to see, what your requests are. And Janine, you said you'd like to see a hyena, and hopefully we can find hyena for you. That would be great. I haven't seen a hyena here for quite some time. And I know we did have that den last year, but it seems as if they moved off, and the hyena do that. And I think also with all the lion activity around, they potentially just felt it was possibly safer to be elsewhere rather than close to all these lions. I don't seem to see any fresh tracks around here, so let's continue. I'm also checking some of the dams. It has been quite warm today, so I'm thinking that perhaps we are lucky if we have a look around the dams. We might find lions or leopard have gone down to drink during the course of the day, or are lying in the shade around a dam. It does happen more often than not. Now it's hard to believe we're having such, not hard to believe, but interesting, and I'm sure some of you are quite jealous. We've got this wonderful warm weather at the moment in Africa, and most of us around the world are experiencing extreme cold at the moment. I know especially in the States. I've got friends in New York. They've had quite a bit of snow. Chicago, it's snowing in Chicago, I believe. So stay warm, and hopefully you snuggled up watching Safari Live wherever you are. Alright, I'm going to continue searching and heading towards these dams that I spoke of. And while I do that, let's head back to James, get an update from him and see if he's had any luck.
I've seen a piece of white stuff in the grass that I know isn't a lion, but I'm going to look anyway with the binoculars, just on the off chance. Oh, it's a piece of log, I think. Yes, something like that in there. No luck so far, everybody. Rather frustratingly the same as it was this morning. I suppose those lions could be in the middle here somewhere. But I think I'm going to stop talking about them, because I don't believe they deserve the honour of my speech at this stage for their completely recalcitrant attitude. Know what I mean? On we go. As Byron was saying, it is a rather glorious afternoon. We've had a number of these, this time last year it was about 7,000 degrees. There was no cloud in the sky. It was just white out. From the time we woke up to the time we went to sleep, it really was dreadful. And this year's just been wonderful. I've seen some more white stuff in the bushes. Craig, I don't think you should even bother, because I'm pretty sure it's nothing. One always hopes that the white stuff is the belly of a lion, you see. It is not the belly of a lion. So I'm driving very carefully, as you can see, looking under every bush, checking for twacks, running over bushes. Hello Tanis, you're in Canada, and mercifully you're not asking me to find you a lion. Thank you so much for that, because I'm utterly incompetent at it, it would appear. You would like to see a lilac-breasted roller, because you say you haven't seen one for a while. Well, I'm certainly going to do my level best to find you one of those. They are around the place. Fear not. What is there? Craig, I think you're probably wasting your time again looking where I am. I'm just going to try one last peek into the bushes here with my powerful binoculars. No, nothing but calm, swaying culms of grass seed, undisturbed by the flicking tail of a lion. It was very poetic of me, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. On we go. Oh, is that a lilac-breasted roller? No, it is a derv. I'm not going to worry about the derv at this stage. I'm just going to keep going for now. A lilac-breasted roller. RC, you say because we're doing requests, you're going to put through your request for Chitwa. Yes, we could go down there at some stage. I'm not going to nip down there right now. Oh, that was nasty of that bird. It was a European bee-eater. But it didn't stop to let us see it. I'm not going to go down there just yet. We're just going to have a squiz around here for a while, and then we may well head down to Chitwa Dam, where I can have a bit of a rest and, enjoy the relaxing scene of the dam. Byron is going to go to Chitwa Dam. RC, fear not, he will take you there. Apparently he was frantically waving his hands, showing how very excited he was to go towards Chitwa Dam. Now Herbert and I and Brian walked this area flat this morning, and if you were on drive with us this morning, you will know that, of course, because, well, you were on bushwalk for most of the drive. We had a couple of technical glitches that seem to have been fixed. We have not lost any signal with Rusty or with Wendy this afternoon, so Drone Commander Connor Teagues, I nearly called him Tonner Keegs. That's quite nice, actually. I think I might do that anyway. Tonner Keegs. He's done a lot of work during the middle of the day, and clearly it was not in vain. Steinbock. A Steinbock that was deeply fearful. Craig, you see, the thing is they don't recognize you, so they're a bit nervous. Right, up we go. The next port of call is going to be Treehouse Dam. See what's going on there. Maybe an effluent or two. Possibly a buffalo. I haven't seen a buffalo for ages. I don't remember what they look like. And maybe a hyena resting in the water. That would be fun. Right, Tayla is around here somewhere. Let's just go and find out exactly where and where those tracks are going. I'd love to know.
So James, you're in a little bit of luck this afternoon. as Brian gets stuck onto a tree and crunches on some leaves. It was very funny. I wish you'd seen what I'd seen. Now, as I was saying, we have picked up on some more tracks. At the moment, we are parallel with Gowrie Main, and we're on the fire break. And basically, the tracks are sort of going up and down this road over here. But Brian was very good because he spotted them on the right-hand side of the road, going east. He also then spotted them coming back across on the other side of the road, very kindly going west. So I suspect that the tracks that we've got going up and down over here are most likely the cubs tracks, and I think that they've been playing around a little bit, getting a little bit rowdy. So there's a possibility that they're still here. Herbie's very carefully just checking the sort of cut line just to make sure that they haven't crossed south, otherwise we're wasting our time a little bit. We'd rather go and try and find the lines, but nothing yet. So this is their favorite spot at the moment. Shubamu Road all the way to Treehouse Dam. This is sort of the last couple of weeks now we've been seeing Hosana and Shongile always around this area. And Shubamu's an old favorite of Karula. I've seen her, and even though I haven't been here for very long, but I've even seen her a number of times on that road. She seems to like it quite a bit. But we're going to take a pause on the leopards for a moment. Come and have a look at all these beautiful little white things that have popped up. Now, before I get into what these beautiful white things are, James, you actually have a question for us, and you're wondering, what is the perfect substrate to track something that is quite light? Now, it depends. I'd have to say a sort of a sandy substrate would probably be the best, because you can even see where a tortoise has gone through. You can see where a shongololo, a millipede, a shongololo. Just listening. I thought it was an elephant, but it sounds like a vehicle. Got to make sure you're vigilant and you're listening. And I think that's probably the nicest. The only problem with sand is because the particles in the sand are quite loose, is that when you get a little bit of wind, and the wind does blow, all that sand goes straight into the track, and sometimes the track can completely disappear. Whereas if it's maybe like what we're standing on at the moment, a little bit of sand, a little bit of soil, you can see it's quite nice. It leaves a nice footprint when you stand on it. This is also really good, especially for very, very fresh tracks, because now the particles are a lot finer than what they are in the sand. You'll probably have a much better idea. You could almost see if it has a hairy foot, you could actually see where the animal had walked, and you can see fine detail like that, which unfortunately you do miss in the sand. So that would probably be my best substrate, is a combination of a sand and, well, dust. I don't know what you would call the rest of this, but I want to show you something. Have a look over here. I'm going to pick one, but look how these little funny things have been growing. And I've actually picked up one of these before, and this particular one is a white button sedge. Now, very easy to tell the difference between a grass and a sedge, and most of you have heard my little poem, so I won't repeat it unless requested. But it's got very, very sharp edges. Grasses tend to have very, very round, and they've got little nodes coming off of the side, but lots smoother. And then, of course, you've got rushes, which are exceptionally round, and they normally grow around water. Now, typically sedges are an indication of a seep line, so very much like a silver cluster leaf. When you see a whole lot of them, it's an indication that there is a seep line or even a marsh area. And another thing that's really amazing about this one specifically is that you find it in the Kalahari as well. Now, the Bushmen inhabited the Kalahari. And one of the things they used to do, you can imagine it's quite dry out there, so they did a lot of digging for bulbs. They had to dig for water. What did they store their water in? Ostrich eggs was one of their most favorite things. But you have to make a little hole in an ostrich egg to keep water in, right? This can now be a problem. How do you close that hole? Here is your solution, the sedge. Now, in the leaves and in the stem and in the roots, this has actually got antibacterial properties. So they used to stuff it. They'd take a whole lot and they'd stuff it in the little hole. They'd only make a tiny little hole, of course, in the ostrich egg. Water doesn't need much to go through it. And then they put all this in the hole until it was completely clogged. And they reckoned that the antibacterial properties would actually help keep the water fresh and prevent it from going sort of stale and spoiled, which I thought was quite nice. And then, of course, it makes for a very good cork as well. Isn't that interesting? I find it exceptionally fascinating. Now, there's a couple of other medicinal uses as well, but we'll save that for the next walk. I've only ever seen this one species of sedge out here. We can't tell you everything all at once. No, I'm just teasing. Right, now, we're just waiting for Herbert. Herbert's gone for a little bit of a bumble just up ahead, so I don't want to go wandering too far because the vegetation is a bit thick, so we don't want to get lost and trampled by something. I don't think that would be fun for anybody, but we're going to be safe out here. So we're just waiting for Herbert to give us the go-ahead. Now, I've noticed that as we're looking on the ground, there's a lot of these branches that are all broken off, all from the bits of the marula tree. So I suspect that the elephants have been reaching up, most likely when this tree first got its leaves, and feeding on all the lovely juicy leaves, because I don't see any fruit around here. I don't think this is a female tree. I can't see any old seeds or anything on the ground. And that means, that the elephants weren't after, of course, the fruit. They were just after the branches. We're going to have to do a little bit of a clean-up here. And I think I'm going to remove half of these branches off the road that the elephants have kindly deposited. And while I do that and get nice and dirty, I'm going to send you back across to Byron to see how his afternoon is going.
So, Taylor, our afternoon's going well. Afternoon, but we haven't seen too much just yet. I've noticed something interesting just on those logs over there, on that log. Look at that. Now, Dave, remind me again, we can drive here now, is that? Not yet. Okay. Oh dear. You should have just said yes. I would have got into some serious trouble. So that is a foam nest frog nest. Now the foam nest frogs, it's an incredible story how they actually build those nests. But and it looks like that's dried up already. Well, the one on the right looks like those little tadpoles or frogs have hatched and dropped out of that foam nest. However, the one on the left, it appears as if there might still be some eggs in there. Now, what happens is the frogs, the females, climb to the top of the nest, or climb to the top of a tree rather, branches, and sometimes really, really high up, above water. It's always above water. And what they do is they then call to attract a mate, and obviously the males will then try and follow the females. And once a female is found by a male, or a number of males actually, while she is laying the eggs, the males all jostle around and try and fertilize the eggs, and all that movement then causes the foam, or that liquid, to start foaming up, and that foam then forms around the branches, and what happens is it protects the eggs inside that nest. Now, it's said that foam nest is actually very, very distasteful, so birds and that don't really raid those nests. But as the eggs hatch, the tadpoles drop down out of the nest straight down into the water. That's why it's always above the water. It takes about 7 to 10 days for the eggs to incubate inside that nest. Isn't that wonderful? Now, there's some birds over there, Egyptian geese, but James has got a bird that's been requested. Let's go see what it is.
There you are, Tanis. There is the lilac-breasted roller. And it is sitting unusually in the middle of a tree. Normally they're out in the open and with the sun shining on their glorious colours. But this one seems to be a little shy. Perhaps there's a nest not too far away from there. That looks like an adult to me, though. They do like to nest in tree holes, or that's the only thing they nest in, and those silver cluster-leaf trees do have a lot of holes in them. Much in the way of cavity. Maybe it is a young one. I'm just going to open my bird app so that I might investigate, but I'm pretty sure that that's an adult. And also, just close by here, I can hear, or I did hear, the call of the golden-tailed woodpecker, which of course is a not particularly pleasant sound, but it's quite a cool bird to see, so we'll have a look just now. I don't have any pictures of a juvenile here. I just want to also check, I'm always amazed by how quickly they get out of the nest. So we had those hardy-dars, which I think were eaten actually by something, because it's 40 days before they're able to fly off. And what were we talking about yesterday? We were talking about one of the birds that we have here. I was reading about it. And they leave the nest in 28 days. How do I remember that? And I can't remember what bird it was. It'll come back to me at some stage. Right, breeding. Eggs, incubation, development, care of young. It says they leave the nest at 35 days. Isn't that amazing? Just over a month, and they're flying off as adult birds. I find that astounding. Sorry, I'm just going to talk to Aubrey. Orbs, sorry, what tracks are those? Okay, copy. Confirm on Sandy Patch going north. Right, the lions are not here, as I suspected. They managed to cross out of that block without our noticing it, and they've headed off into around Sydney, the area around Sydney's dam. So Aubrey's up there having a look, and that's why we couldn't find them this morning. Not sure how on earth they managed to get there without us seeing their tracks. Anyway, so it goes, so it goes. Oh, I heard your question rather differently from the way you asked it, Jonathan. You say, what I thought I heard was, have you ever had the book Makiri on camera before? And I thought to myself, I don't know of a book called Makiri before. But that isn't what you were asking. You were asking if we've ever had the Bok Makiri on camera. No. The Bok Makiri is extremely unusual in this area. In fact, I would humbly submit that it probably doesn't occur here. I may have seen one at Londolozi down in the south on the open plains. Many of them in the Eastern Cape. But no, I don't think we've ever had the Bok Makiri on camera here. I might be wrong. Does anybody have the Bok Makiri on their bird list, perhaps? It's a kind of bush shrike. In fact, while we drive along, I can probably show it to you. As I look around the place, this is called multitasking, everybody. It's not advisable in traffic. It is likely to result in a fender bender, as they say. Where are they now? The bush shrikes. They must be here somewhere. Ah, there it is. I found the Bok Makiri. I'm going to stop here as the sun goes glorious. There we are. That's the Bok Makiri. And you can see, once we've had a look at it quickly, we'll go across to the name. That's how you spell it. There we go. Bok Makiri. Bok Makiri. And if we look at the map here, you can see, maybe if you zoom all the way in, Craig, on that map, if you can, we are sitting roughly where my finger is, and so this bird really doesn't quite occur where we are. But I imagine they come in here as vagrants every so often. Marvellous. You can see I saw it in Tomorrowland on the 4th month of the 4th year, in the year 2000. Anno Domini. Right, Byron has got the same animal that we began the drive with, a gammon on legs.
We do indeed, James. quite a large warthog. It's just moving off to the side there. We did also have 2 steenbok which have moved away. They've moved off towards into the thicket there, unfortunately. And there were some little bee-eaters flying around us. I was hoping they'd stick around, but they didn't. James was showing you the bok makiri. Beautiful bird. I've seen it a few times, not in this area. The Hari in the northwestern part of South Africa. There's this warthog again. Hang on. Oh, sorry. There's the call of European bee-eaters above us at the moment. They're all flying around. It's very difficult to actually see them. I don't think we'd be able to pick them up with the camera. You might be, if you listen carefully, you might hear them. Oh, they are beautiful birds. Let me show you what they look like quickly. They're also one of my favorites to see around this time of year. The European bee-eaters that migrate back. Have you got one? What is it? A woodpecker. Oh, well done, Dave. Look at that. There's a woodpecker, everyone. Oh, dear. Let's see. Which one is it? It's just hiding behind the leaf now. They do jump around quite a bit, so let's see what... Oh, there we go. And it looks like it may be a... Is it a bearded or golden-tailed? Hang on. Now, the woodpeckers... for some reason are very, very difficult to identify. They all look fairly similar, but I think they're still there. Yeah, I think it was a golden-tailed, to be honest. I'll show you which ones I'm looking at. Yeah, with the speckles and that around. Let me just double check with my binoculars rather. See, they're so secretive. Look how it's hiding behind that branch, jumping around. Hang on, there it comes. Still there. Just jumped off there. Can you still see it? Oh, there we go. Jumping about, looks like a bearded, actually. Now that I had a closer look. Actually, you know what? That's a cardinal woodpecker. It's the smaller one. It's a cardinal woodpecker. Now, so the thing with the woodpeckers, and have a look here quickly. Let me just show you before we go back to these European bee-eaters. But the woodpeckers, they all have, and you saw, he has got streaking down the front. This little cardinal, so we could see that streaking. I saw it a bit clearer with the binoculars, and then that red head, or the top of the head, with a bit of a black throat. Do you see that? But that was definitely a cardinal woodpecker. Now I just want to show you. Justin, you want to know how long a woodpecker's tongue is? Now, before I show you the other ones, now Justin. The tongue is extremely long. I'm not entirely sure the length in terms of the measurement, but I can hear some hippo, and we're going to be going there soon, so you might have heard them too. Now, the tongue actually, my understanding is that the tongue goes into the mouth and actually wraps around the back of the head a little bit, and that adds additional support to the brain because of that hammering that they do. So there's a lot of fluid inside the brain, as well as their tongue, that wraps around and helps support the brain when they do that tapping. Obviously, when they're knocking and looking for food, they hit very, very hard, so they need to support the brain. So the tongue is actually very long compared to the size of the bird. Now I just wanted to show you quickly the bearded woodpecker, just because the bearded woodpecker is much bigger, but you can see it also has a red head. It's got a lot more black or dark under the throat, but also it's almost got a bit of barring on the underbelly, as opposed to the little streaks of the cardinal woodpecker that we saw. See, so it is a bit different, but it is much bigger than the cardinal. So you should be able to tell just by the size. So that was a little cardinal woodpecker we saw. And then let me just quickly show you the bee-eaters again, that we can hear calling above us. And I'll play the call for you in case you didn't hear it. But they are very, very beautiful. Have a look at the color of this bird. Look at that. Look at that. Really, really beautiful. And I just want to play the call for you quickly, because it is something really, really wonderful. You hear that? Very interesting little call. Now, that is what I can hear flying above us, but as I said, it's very difficult to focus on them with the camera, but you'll often hear them flying around this time of year, and they're beautiful if you can see them. All right, so we are heading towards Chitwa Dam. While I do that, let's head back over to James, who's got something that I'm not quite sure what it was. I didn't hear properly. Let's see what it is.
There's some impala, everybody. That's what we've had. And two of them were having a bit of a fight with each other. They don't like each other. Clearly somebody said something that the other one didn't like, and they were boxing each other, but they seem to have recovered themselves and their decorum, and they're now getting on like the gentleman's club they're supposed to be. At this time of the year, we'll go a little bit forward. Now, I have bad news. Bad news is that the Nkuhuma Pride has been found in Biffle's Hook, which means we cannot go to see them. Now, Craig, that one rubbing its head there is missing a piece of its horn, I think. Is it? No, it's not. I'm sure I saw one that was missing a piece of its horn. Perhaps I'm just going blind. No. I'm just going blind. Now, what he's doing there is a bit of sort of territorial marking. He's very clearly not eating that bush, and he's rubbing his scent onto the edge of the gori bush. He knows it's a gori bush, in much the same way that lions mark their territories on gori bushes, as they know nothing eats them. And I don't think they have a preorbital gland, a gland beneath the eye, like a steenbok does, for example. And in fact, I think, for example, the wildebeest do as well. They probably do have a preorbital gland, probably just not as big as that of a steenbok's. Anyway, he thinks that that's quite a good bush to show how manly he is, and so that's what he's doing. I suppose not so much manly as ramly. Ha 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 ha. Hello, Laurel in New York. You say, do all grazers here have horizontal rectangular pupils in the eyes? Yes, as far as I know, they do, much like horses. That apparently allows them to see better in the conditions that they need to. There's quite a long discussion about pupil sizes and pupil shapes and why animals have them and why they don't. And I'm not going to go into it now, mainly because I've forgotten most of the particularly important bits behind it. But it is very interesting. And there's actually a reason why they have those rectangular. I've got it saved somewhere on a device, but there's a reason they've got those rectangular pupils. So Laurel, perhaps you could help me out as my forgetfulness comes to the fore. There's Just a lovely picture of them sitting in the bushes there. But clearly there's no leopard around here. Herbert and Tayla, as I'm sure they've told you, hot on the trail of Karula and her babies. Look how peaceful that is in the shade, isn't that nice? Gorgeous. Alright, on we go. We'll pop on to Arathusa, I think, now, just to see what's cutting there, as Byron would say. What's cutting? All these impala are going crazy. Now, as soon as I stop and we turn the camera towards them, they cease going crazy. They were chasing each other again. It's strange for this time of the year, I would have thought. But I guess they can't get on with each other all the time. Even though this isn't a heightened testosterone period, there must still be that rather aggressive hormone flowing around the place. Alright, let's go and find out from Tayla what the update is on those tracks. I'm going to head across to Arathusa and I'll tell you what's there when I get there.
Still around on this fire break because we've been following the tracks as they've been going this way. The ones that are heading east or southeast seem to be a little more fresh than the others that are going back west. So we're trying to stick on them. Now Herbert was just ahead and sorry, I thought I saw something move. I don't know what I just saw, but we'll go and investigate. I think it could have been a Herbert because he's just walking on the other side. He could have been making his way through. But he was asking if we still had some nice fresh tracks. So we're going to see if I can find you some nice fresh tracks. But now, of course, the tracks seem to have just disappeared. This is Murphy's Law. It happens all the time. No, I can't see any. I'm obviously looking on the ground, watching where I'm putting my feet, but also looking for the faint paw print of these leopards. I don't know what just went into the bushes up there. I hope it was Herbert. But something went a little... I don't actually know. Something in there. So I think what I'm going to do is, Brian, let's walk to Termite Mound. I'm sure Herbert would have spotted something. He's got a better view, but just in case, you never know what it may be. And when you're walking, you want to be safe, of course. I want to keep you safe. Well, when you're walking, you want to be safe, of course. I want to keep all of you safe. So the best thing to do is not get attacked by a stick like what I'm doing now, but it's just to use a bit of cover. Now, it may seem really silly to use something like this as a bit of cover, but I can promise you, if you climb on top of it, you probably wouldn't be able to get up a termite mound like this. When you're being chased by something, you will find a way. My goodness, you are agile. He's top of a mountain now. Have you thought Brian's tall when he's top of a mountain now? If you thought Brian was tall when he stood normally on the ground, you should see what he looks like when he's standing on a termite mound that's a couple of feet, probably about 8 to 10 foot high. You're very tall now. This will keep you safe. And look at the view that you have from up top here. It's, I suppose it's like you're king of the castle right now. And if I were to finish that rhyme off, I'm just a dirty rascal. As my brother used to sing with me as he'd push me off the jungle gym. Now, you know what's interesting though, Brian, is that we've actually stumbled across the beauty of a sighting over here. Now, we've seen it twice before where we found these flies, which I still haven't been able to found just yet. I hope I don't go over backwards. If I do, please have a good laugh. We found these flies that were eating termites, and I've just seen them again. I'm trying to get it so Brian can actually see, but they're not sitting. There's one here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, Brian. It's down here, and Brian's going to come around, so we just got to shift. He's now stuck. He's going around in circles. He doesn't know which way to go down. Are you going to go that way? Okay, let me move out of your way. Oh, thank goodness these flies are... I don't know if they're dim-witted. I'm not sure. Now they've all flown away from you. Watch. Now you won't get any of them. There's one here. Let me see if I can... It just flew past my head. And if you're wondering what I'm holding as well in my hand, because I've got my ash bag. You've seen James, you've seen Steph. They use old school socks. This is new age technology. It's beautiful, hey? And I can keep it in my backpack and it doesn't put ash everywhere. So this is what I use, a little eyedropper. Where's this fly gone now? I just saw it fly here. But they're so massive and they're so robust. There we go. You see it? Just there. I'm going to move the grass for you. There we go. Around here, which is quite common. You normally see that. And I'm still trying to work out what species of fly it is. I had a little bit of a look through my insect book. I also popped onto the interweb to see if I could figure it out. But there's nothing just yet that I can fly. But they're everywhere at the moment. There's a second one actually coming to join. And I just think it is so fat. I don't know if you'll see, and it's now flown away. It is just so fascinating the way they sit amongst a whole lot of termites. And I suppose if they're hanging around where the ants are, they must be feeding upon ants. And they go after them, they grab them. It's the most amazing technique. They sort of see to nibble on them a bit, and then they drop them and they move on to the next one. So it's very interesting. And it's so amazing that we're getting to see something like this. Oh yes, there you go, there's another one. Seeing stuff like this live. There we go, there's a whole lot. And I wonder if we'll be lucky enough today to see, oh here we go, look, here, they've just made a move to some ants. You see, it does that weird sort of crab, sort of side-winding movement around the ants. Catch one for us. Now this is not going to be, I don't think, as tasty of a meal as a termite would be, because the termites seem to have a bit more sustenance on them than just a mere old ant. No, I suppose you can't say old, because I don't think ants live for very long. No, look at it cleaning itself. There we go, catch it. The ant actually went to almost chase it away and investigate to what was going on. They don't eat ants. We'll have to wait and see until it tries to gobble one up. We've seen them twice eating termites. Look at those ants, they get quite brave. And for something so small, they don't seem to be too bothered. Maybe they've also just eaten their fill. Maybe they've had a whole lot of ants for lunch. And now they're just resting. But this is really amazing. They're just resting. But this is really amazing. And they're everywhere. And like I said, they don't seem to be the quickest flying flies I've ever seen. There we go. That one on top looks like quite interested. Catch it. Catch an ant. No. They don't want to eat the ants. That's so disappointing. But this is really fascinating, and obviously I need to try and build on this, but none of the books I have seem to have this specific species of fly that feasts upon termites. I don't know what else is doing by catching it and moving it towards its mouth parts and then dropping it. Maybe it's just giving it a kiss and saying good night and putting it into a permanent sleep. I have no idea. These are the mysteries that I face in my day. But enough being silly now. We're going to see if we can carry on with these fresh leopard tracks. We're going to send you back across to Byron now, who's at Chitwa. Hopefully, he's going to take you and show you the dam.
And we are sitting at Chitwa Dam. It's a beautiful, beautiful dam, this. And there's so much going on here. It's fantastic. A lot of hippo here. I can't believe it. It's amazing. We've been getting one or two yawns from the hippo. And you see them open their mouths, those big mouths, and see those sharp teeth of theirs. Tusks. It's incredible to see. And usually I found late afternoon they tend to display a little bit more. Hang on, there comes a yawn. There we go. Fantastic. Great. Good. That hippo's playing along nicely. Now they generally do that to intimidate other hippo or to intimidate any threat or danger that might be close by. Hippo are quite territorial. Males do get into serious fights, but in a pod like this, they do tolerate one another. And hippo are generally very gregarious, usually in large groups. But males will fight for territory and dominance and chase. The winner will chase the other one out. But then the females and the younger males who aren't a threat will be allowed to stay in the pod or in that dam. Lovely breeze up on top of the dam wall at the moment. A lot of red-billed buffalo weavers around. The nests, the big nests up in these trees in the water. And there's a lot of Egyptian geese around. It's incredible. There are plenty of them. These hippos seem to be quite active, which is great. Watch, here goes another yawn. Oh, just a quick one. Yeah, they're definitely quite active. Let's keep an eye on them for a second. Let's see if we get another yawn. Oh, there's a baby. Look at that. There's a young one trying to yawn like an adult. Oh, that's great. Alright, so we're going to hang around here a little bit because there's so much going on here. We'll see what else we can find for you. But while we do that, James has got a large cat he'd like to show you.
Yes, indeed, a large cat, and I just decided to pop down here to see what was going on before we tried to return a little bit earlier. And there they are. There's one of them. I don't know where. The other two are just off to the left. We'll take a look at them shortly. Right. Okay, the other chap's moving out now. Oh, there we go. I'm just saying hello to Ryan over there. There we go. Can you see that one there? Roll on it, Craig, quickly. There. Great big lion over there. Oh, hang on, you can't see the thing. Hang on, 1 second. Sorry about that. I parked Craig behind a bush and told him to film. There you go. Now, can you perhaps help me, everybody, identify what we're looking at here? I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is that must be Mfumo, the authority, because he's got his sort of enormous scar underneath his nose. The other guy I can't identify at this stage, but we're definitely going to try and get them from every angle, see if we can't figure out who's who. But they are very, very happy with each other's presence at the moment, and they're not doing a great deal, so we're not going to spend a huge amount of time here. But we'll just try and identify them all. So if you could help us. If you are a new viewer, there are 4 of these Birmingham boys, all born on the farm Birmingham, which is, well, not so much a farm as a reserve up to the north of us. And it actually borders on a place called Ngala, where both Herbert and I used to work. And that's where they were whelped, and they came down here when they got big enough to take a territory of their own. And we've named them recently Mfumo, that one. He's easy to recognize by his scarred face underneath his right eye. Nana, the warrior. Nsuku, the blonde one. And Tinyo, the tooth. Tinyo, the tooth, is easy to pick up because, well, he's got a sort of, he's got a split lip almost over his left canine, left top canine. But the other two, I've got to tell you, I will really struggle to recognize the difference between them. So if we can convince one of them to stick his head up, we'll see if we can't identify them. David, you say the other one there is Nana. David, are you able to tell me how you know that? I don't dispute it for 1 second. I just wish to know how on earth you know that. Oh, he's moving. Quickly, Craig, there's high action here. Good grief, look at that. I can barely contain my heartbeat at the moment. Okay, I'm going to get us into a slightly better position here. And Craig, we're going to have to pass through this little hole here. And if this chap to the right sticks his head up, I'll stop. You right there? Now, Dina, I have to agree with you. You say it's fun to see all of these chaps here in the sunshine together. It's wonderful to see them together because we never see them together. Ooh, that'll be a nice shot. Now, I think I've made a mistake. I'm not sure that is Mfumo. No, it's not. He doesn't have the scuff. And David, you say Nana has got the equal sign scratch on the top of his nose. Well, that one certainly doesn't have that. And he's got a very pink nose compared with the others. Now, that will change. That is very interesting, actually. I'm finding this very distressing. And of course, as Mfumo's nose has started to heal, right, so Tayla McCurdy, who was here this morning, thought it was Mfumo, Tinyo and Nana. So is that perhaps Nana that we're looking at now? Because I don't think it's Mfumo anymore, given the fact that I don't see that great big scratch underneath his right eye. Well, we'll try and figure it out. We're not right. We're right in between them. Yes. Is there what? No, yeah, she is. She's on Vuatella. Well, their track's there. They're tracking her now. I'm just talking to Ryan, everyone. No, I think they're there, yeah. That's what they're following now. Where have I been hiding? Oh, well, you know, in and out. That's Ryan, everyone. He was asking about Karula, where she is. Is she still in the north? And why, by the north, he, of course, means on Vuatera. Right, now, here's the other one here, right next to us, not more than sort of, 3 meters or so, 9 feet. Very resplendent and comfortable in the shade. Now, Stacy, you say you've been gone for a little while. How dare you, Stacy? And then you say one of them used to be known as Blondie. Which one is that one now? Well, we think that's the one that is missing. That's Nsuku. Nsuku basically means Blondie in Shangaan. We decided that we couldn't have Blondie as a male lion name. It just wasn't nearly sort of terrifying enough. So we found the Shangaan word for blonde, and it's Nsuku. So he's now called Nsuku. That's Nsuku. Janine, I'm afraid I didn't get your question there. All I got was the big cat. Oh, right. Janine, you want to know who gets to name the cats. We're just going to drive around the other side and have a look at the third fellow there. Janine, the person that gets to name the big cats is me, because I am the best person in the world. Janine, I'm talking rubbish. We named the cats along with the guides at Vuatella, so that's Aubrey and Taxon, and then also with some of the senior guides from around here, because of course the Birmingham Boys occupy an enormous territory. So we put forward a few names, and just about all of them were accepted sort of forthwith. And here's the other one now. Now look how different the colour of his nose is. And so we suggested those names, and they were pretty much accepted. And then we had a little sort of almost naming ceremony at a fireside chat one evening. Now this guy's nose is much less beaten up than the others. Fascinating. Right, Mauricio, you say that Tinyo has got the point missing from the tip of his right ear. This isn't him, because Tinyor is obvious on this side of his face. So that's definitely not him. I've got to confess that I'm completely flummoxed by who's who here. Let's hope the other one. It would be very helpful if they'd sit up. There we go, big sneeze. And now the bush tickling his little ear. Makes you want to go over and give him a bit of a scratch, doesn't it? Promise you wouldn't want to do that though. He'd be less than pleased with having you near him. Oh, thank you. That makes things a little more difficult for us. Right, let's move slightly forward. Craig, were they being any more active this morning or not really? Oh, here we go. High action. And does anybody remember which one had the dreadful scarring on his belly from the mange, the scourge, the individual responsible for infecting all the lions around here? Do you remember who he was? Sorry chaps, I don't mean to get quite so close, but we need to see you. We need to see your faces. Yes, now you see, I think that's almost certainly not. No, that is Mfumo. Okay, that's Mfumo. That's definitely him on the right-hand side. That's the hole that he's got beneath his eye. It's just healed quite nicely. So I'm going with Mfumo on that one. It's definitely not Tinyor, the one that we were looking at. So maybe Tinyor is the one under the other bush there. Does everyone agree with me? Hashtags for live questions at WildEarthTV. If you'd like to tell me who you think these are. We're going to be here another 10 minutes or so, and then we're going to press on. And Hayley, you reckon that it was Tinyor that had the mange on his stomach? I seem to remember that being absolutely correct, yes. Thank you for that. Alright, now you reckon, Liz, that this is Nana, the one with the undamaged nose. That's definitely Mfumo there. So Nana to the left of him, and then Tinyor off to the underneath the bushes on his own. Yeah, that makes sense to me, I must say, Liz. I would agree with you there. So we must remember, Nana, despite his warrior-like name, actually has a much less scarred face than the rest of them. Nice, also, an interesting trait of young Mfumo here is that his nose is pinker than the others. Now that tells me that he's younger than the others by, well, could be as much as 6 months. But that it should be black by 7 years old, and his has got a long way to go. So I'm going to say that he could easily be up to a year younger than the others, which I think is quite interesting, because he certainly seemed to be dominating many of the interactions that they had together. He seemed to be dominating much of the mating that was going on, so that's quite interesting. Alright, Tayla, quite apart from finding Karula, has actually managed to find some dung.
Only because the elephant dung couldn't make an escape from us. It was unfortunately, well, actually, it could make an escape if a dung beetle took it away from us, and it was the last little piece. Now, sadly today, and I think it's maybe because of the heat and probably because I haven't drunk enough water, but I've got a little bit of a headache this afternoon, and nothing seems to be working of the little migraine kit concoction of tablets that I've taken. It does not want to work. So we're going to resort to my absolute favorite animal out in the bush that produces my second favorite thing, which is of course elephant dung. And this, I would say, is probably from a big elephant bull. We've just picked it up. It's a couple of days old. You can still see it's nice and wet inside. Ooh, a marula. Just the skin though. Now I've got a little bit of dung on my fingers. We're going to give this a go again and actually see if it works really well, because the last time that I did this I was feeling a bit congested, and it actually stopped my nasal cavity from, well, I suppose, what is a nice way of saying, I had the sniffles, and it stopped that. So we're going to see now if it works to get rid of a headache, because they say that this works really, really well, and I've done this once or twice, but I think we're going to do it again today, just to try and test, of course, these theories. And if you're wondering if I tried the Commelina for my eyes this morning, I didn't get a chance, and we'll have to test that this afternoon too. Luckily we've got some more hands to help administer. Now you got to give it a good burn, get the smoke going without burning my finger. I'm not very good at this. Okay, we're going to just get a little bit more smoke going. You can see how easily it burns. Kirsty's just said to me, hashtag what would Steph do? Probably burn some elephant dung. He also likes to burn things. Right, here we go. We're getting a good amount of smoke. I think a little bit longer, 2 more. Don't try this at home. If you're a young child and you're watching this, you must not play with lighters, and you must not go around burning things either. I'm experienced. And then I've got 2 other adults present in case I get out of hand as well. So I'm not the adult. The adults are Brian and, of course, Herbie. Here we go. We've got good smoke, so good that it's an effective smoke machine. Now you've got to inhale it. No wind. It burns the nasal passage a little bit, makes the eyes water. We're going to give it a go. Herbie says I've got to give it a good couple of...
snorts.
Yes, a couple of breaths in. I'm trying to shelter it. Brian's trying to get on this as well. Stop stealing my smoke. It burns. I don't know if it's supposed to work instantly. And I promise I will not lie to you. I really will not lie to you. One more. Got to get more smoke. See, I can also make fire with a lighter. No, it's not smoking enough. Here we go. It burns my nostrils. Woo! Okay, Ryan wants to try some. Give me the camera. Ryan's also going to try some. Oh, there you are. It burns, eh?
Stings the nostrils.
It does sting the nostrils. That's exactly what happens. But not bad. Here we go.
But not great.
No, it made my eyes water quite a bit. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a couple of minutes, and I promise I'm not gonna tell any stories like I normally do. I'll give you a genuine answer for the next couple of minutes. I actually feel a bit better. It was a horrible pain that was sort of sitting behind my left eye. So, and it's been going the whole day. So if this stops working, I'm done with westernized medicine. I'm finished. I'm just going to be utilizing all the elephant dung. I've got to leave some for the dung beetles. I can't take the elephant's marulas and then steal the dung from the dung beetles as well. I won't be very popular out here in nature if I continue doing those types of things, but I promise I'll leave a little bit behind. But that was amazing. Now, Herbert was telling me an amazing story just now about other different things other than just sort of sorting out colds and flus and headaches, and as well as being an insect repellent. We're talking about the elephant dung and burning it, of course. He was telling me a story, and look, he's actually creating an entire story scene for you as we speak. Hey, Herbie.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
So what have you got, Herbie? So we're smelling the elephant dung now. And so what are you building over here?
This is gonna be my yard.
Your yard. Okay, so this is your house. So it's a drawing of your house.
Yes.
Okay, where's your house? Is your house in the middle?
In the middle.
There's your house.
Yeah.
That's your house?
This is my house. This is my fence.
Yes.
And this is gonna be my gate.
Oh, very nice. It's a big garden you've got, Herbie.
Yes. So now, back to the elephant dung.
Yes.
We use, as locals, we use the elephant dung for different medicinal uses, as Tayla have mentioned some for you. But apart from what she mentioned, you can actually use elephant dung to drive away evil spirit. How? Because elephants are mixed feeders, meaning they will be eating different types of food materials like bulbs, the bark grass, the leaves, and instead of us going for each and every tree to collect those trees I've mentioned, you actually go for elephant dung as a substitute. How?
So it's amazing. We're talking about evil spirits now and how we can get rid of the evil spirits. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to you anymore. Please continue, Herbert. This is incredible.
There's a type of tree called the Transvaal gardenia, which is in this shape. 3 sticks sticking out.
Oh, it's a jumping stick.
And when you come across one, I'll actually point it out for you. And in this case, the locals will be using those sticks to drive away evil spirit together with the elephant dung. They'll cut 4 pieces of the sticks of this size. In your yard, in each and every corner of your fence, you dig a hole.
What are you looking for?
Elephant dung.
Oh, elephant. I didn't bring you any. Wait, I'm coming now. I'm running. I'm back. Sorry, Herbie, you have to tell us again. Here we go.
This is gonna be my materials. Elephant dung, the Transvaal gardenia. And together with your sticks, you dig up the hole at the corner of your fence, put the elephant dung, the stick on top of the elephant dung, and you bury it. So you'll be doing this in each and every corner. You bury these, and to the gate as well. And done. Now, because of your stick are in a T form, that means the elephant dung will actually help or drive away the evil spirit. Meaning, if the elephant spirit comes from this direction, it will be kicked away from the house. As it comes from this direction as well, kicked away. And in that case, they believe that at the end of the day, the house will be safe.
That is fantastic. That's so cool. I didn't know that. Brian and I have just learned something new, and I'm pretty sure all the ladies sitting in Final Control and Connor, of course, have learned something brand new. Isn't this amazing? So hopefully in the near future, I'll be the one telling this story. But Byron is still on Chitwa. Let's go across to him. He's looking at a watering hole.
I am indeed still sitting at the water hole here, and it really, really is very, very beautiful. I wanted to show you some other birds, and I'm hoping Dave can get them. They're directly behind the hippo, and there they are. Now, those are collared pratincoles, and it is wonderful to see them. You don't get to see them very often, and there's a small flock of them. There they are, little collared pratincoles, and they are not very common. You don't see them often, and they do migrate, so it's nice to see them around. Try to show you another photo of them quickly. They're intra-African migrants, but they're fairly uncommon. And let me show you a picture. That's what it looks like. That's a breeding plumage of one. Can you see it there? Is it clear? Is it a bit better? There we go. That's it. Very, very nice to see them. This is actually the first time I've seen collared prats in Cole. I've always just missed them. So it's really great to see. Now I know some of my friends are actually watching, a bunch of guides, believe it or not, and they're all trying to cause trouble and send in some very funny questions, trying to catch me out, but they're actually watching just so they can learn. So like Roger, Chris and Andrew and Johan, they're all watching so they can learn a little bit about a safari. But thanks for the questions, guys. It's definitely going to provide some amusement to all the ladies in the FC, that's for sure. Oh, I can hear the whistling sound of the water thickneys just on the edge of the water. They're actually just off. There goes another yawn. Oh, have a look just off to the right, Dave. I don't know if you can see, just in that little, there's some white-faced ducks. Okay, they're the water thickneys. And just a little bit further right, Dave. I don't know if you can go just there at the edge of the water, in the water, just at the edge there. Yeah, down there. You see that white-faced duck busy bathing? There we go. That's very nice. Nice to see them. Oh, look at that. Beautiful birds. And there's the blacksmith lapwing just off to the left. But look at that white-faced duck bathing. Beautiful. Really, really nice to see them. There was a little antelope hiding behind that branch there that I think Dave saw. Where did it go? Is it still there? There we go. Looks like a bushbuck. Just hiding behind the branch, feeding on some of that green vegetation around there. Little bushbuck. Our beard, I also have been waiting for years to see a crocodile catch, or listen to the hippo. So I've been waiting for years to see a crocodile catch one of these Egyptian geese or a duck, as they swim across the water, but I've never seen it. I don't know. Somehow they just managed to stay out of reach of the crocodiles. There's some yawning activity again on the other side. Let's see. So, yeah. So we got to see that little bushbuck, and James has got another little antelope that he'd like to show you.
And some beautiful little steenbok. Unfortunately, it is disappearing behind a bush, which is very irritating because I must have seen about 74 of them today. All of them stop and look friendlily at the car. You turn the camera towards them, and as Kirsten says, I'm going to link to you, they look at you and in a very sort of figurative way lift the middle finger and dash off into the bush, so that we are left with egg on our faces and nothing to look at but the great greenery of the central Lowveld. Now, we left the Birmingham Boys because they were doing absolutely nothing, and we've come up towards Red Dam to see what we can find around here. Shadow's whereabouts are unknown. Shadow's activities are unknown. We haven't heard of, about, or anything of the sort for some time. So we're going to go and have a look around Red Dam, and also hoping that maybe there's a buffalo down there or an elephant. It's a very bright afternoon, much as it was yesterday, and my eyes are suffering somewhat. Whee! So we're all agreed, are we, that those 3 lions were Mfumo, Nana the warrior lying with him, and Tinyo the tooth off underneath the Gwari bush on his own. Unless anybody says otherwise, we're going to assume Nsuku is the animal that walked clean through Vuyatela or Djuma during the course of the night and walked out into Little Gari to the south sometime this morning. Right, there is Red Dam. John, you ask a very good question, although I'm very interested as to where you think that, where it comes from. You say, are all the lions here related? Is it true that they're all related? No, it's most certainly not true. I suppose there could be some distant relationship between some of them, but they are not. I mean, the Birmingham Boys are related, all of them, but I think that it's highly unlikely that they have any relationship with the 2 prides or the 3 prides that they dominate, the Nkuhumas, the Styx and the Torchwood prides. I don't think they're related to them at all. There could be some distant relationship where, you know, a male from these prides could easily have dispersed away some time back and then become part of the gene pool that made up the Birmingham pride, and in so doing their genes could be returning to this area. So there could be a distant relationship. They're certainly not closely related at all. Here we are at Red Dam, where there seems to be nothing red and very little in the way of life. Anyway, we'll just have a quick squiz around here and see what's going on. There are 2 Egyptian geese. So that's the story there. Very nice. Yes, Angela, they are and they aren't. I don't know the answer exactly to this, but you say, why is Chitwa Dam fuller than the rest of the dams? I think you'll find that Chitwa Dam is fuller. Yes, it is on the end of a stream. It's the Morwanini stream, and it kind of terminates at that dam, basically. And this one isn't. This is basically a quarry on the end of a very much smaller drainage system. And I'm just trying to think of some of the others. Well, Twin Dams doesn't have a river flowing into it at all. How it has water in it, I cannot quite figure out. Djuma Dam also has quite a big river going towards it, but nothing like the size of the one that feeds into Chitwa Dam. They may also pump Chitwa Dam, but I don't think they do. I think it's just in a really big sort of natural depression. I see not any sign of shadow or much else here, really. And we see that kingfisher leap in. Oh, there's a kingfisher there, straight ahead of us. Now I'm going to test you here, Craig. Can you see this kingfisher? It's in that bush there. There you go. You've got him. Now he's going to leap into the water shortly, and you're going to try and track him as he goes into the water and catch him drinking and bathing himself. Are you ready? Well, come on now, bird, don't let me down. He's just having his wash. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Get ready. He's looking up. He's opening his wings. He's giving them a clean. Here we go. And no, not just yet. Just keep watching him. Keep an eye out. Yeah, he looks like he's leaning forward now. And while Craig waits for that bird to move, I'm just going to try and see if I can spot. Ah, there it goes. There he goes. Here he comes back. Well done. It is a cinnamon-breasted bunting that I saw. And of course that all makes us all slightly sad. It was Gracie's favourite bird, the cinnamon bun bird. Right, we're just going to do a little drive down through this drainage because there look to be some vehicle tracks there, and there's quite a nice viewpoint from the other side. We can see what's going on. And while I do that, Tayla has managed to find a jacket plum, which of course is very good for baldness apparently. I don't think Tayla requires it for that purpose, however.